Okay, so this is my first time ever doing a recording, so we're going to see how this goes, and hopefully,
We're good, Joe. We're good. It's live. I
okay.
see it clicking up in the top. Man, I'm sitting in this gator box that makes me ill, but that's okay. I'm ready to
Hey,
go.
hey! You should be privileged. You should be proud, son. All right, all right. So let me do this right here. How are you? It's been a while since we
I'm good,
chatted.
brother. I'm good, man. Yeah, football season's here, baby. And as of Seminole, we are very excited about this season. We're finally back in the national title hunt. I don't know if we'll be able to win a national championship, but just being in a realistic spot, number 8 in the poll. A lot of folks have us higher in their polls, but it feels good to be back in that conversation. Florida will be back soon enough. Your coach is, be patient. He's a good recruiter. He's sticking to his systems. I like that. He's not, listening to all the outside crap. So I think Napier's. I think he's going to be all right. You never know, but I think he's going to be okay. But then again, I thought Dan Mullen could get a good job done, and I was wrong. So,
and here I thought he was going to bad talk the Florida Gators.
No, man. Listen, we just came off 6 bad years. It's a cycle, man. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. Hey, there was 40 years Georgia sucked out loud. All right, 20 years Alabama was terrible. So it happens to everybody. Everybody thinks the recency bias that Alabama's going to be great forever. No, Nick Saban's going to be done sometime. Kirby Smart's going to move on. And things will change. So it's all cyclical. Enjoy the journey, baby.
I love what he says, cyclical. I think that's a key word to keep in mind. And we're going to talk about the Florida State Seminoles because something came up that really got me, that really has me hot. So he'll tell By the way, how you like the beer?
I like it. I like it. Looks good. Looks good.
So
very nice.
Okay. Let's start off with talking with the boys right here, the Pewter Power Boys, better known as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No more Tom Brady there, but there's a lot of pretty good weapons on that offense. Of course, the not the controversy, but the competition between Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. And from everything I've been hearing, Kyle Trask has been doing good.
Yeah. I've been out there at practice, probably taking in about 6 practices. And, I've been saying this all along. People wrote off Kyle Trask, and I'm like, why? This guy was one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. Last time I checked, that's a pretty good league. He went toe-to-toe with Alabama, almost won an SEC championship in his senior season. So, look, Kyle Trask is no bum, and he was drafted in the 2nd round for a reason. Now, people look at the fact that he never beat out Blaine Gabbert as some type of, black mark against him. That's not what that was about. That was Tom Brady handpicking his backup, Blaine Gabbert, saying he's going to be my guy and fill that role. And Trask can just sit around and learn a little bit. And that's what he did. So I don't, downgrade Trask at all for that. He didn't get any reps in practice. Brady was the show, as he should have been. When you got Tom Brady, whatever he says goes. That's the way it's going to be. But Tom Brady wasn't necessarily interested in, developing Kyle Trask. That's not his job. I'm not saying that, he's being a jerk about it, but he had other things on his mind, right? So Trask really hasn't had a shot. And I credit him with working his ass off. He's put himself in good position. He's lost weight. He's become more nimble. And right now, when you go out to practice and you see a guy out there who's 6'5", the velocity on his passes has increased. The accuracy has increased. His athleticism has increased. And it's a competition. He looks good. He's delivering the football. He's throwing less interceptions than Baker. But people are going crazy about this interception thing in practice. Stop.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It's ridiculous. All right. It's Baker is trying to push the envelope maybe a little bit more to see how far he can go with some receivers, getting used to the receivers. Who comes back to the ball, who doesn't. So I wouldn't be counting up the interceptions and whoever has less gets the job. That's not the way it works. So we need to, grow up a little bit about that. We'll see how these guys play in the games. Baker's going to start. Trask will start the 2nd game. They'll both get a lot of work with the ones in the joint practices with the Jets, and then they'll make a decision. I think both quarterbacks are going to play this year. So whoever starts doesn't necessarily mean it's going to finish the season. So it's a work in progress. It's a legitimate competition, and frankly, I'm here for it. Let's see who wins the job.
JP Peterson, the JP. By the way, what's the name of your show?
The JP Peterson Show. You can stream it 10 to 12 Eastern every day. We're on Twitter, live on my Twitter at JP Peterson, at FanStreamJP, at the JP Peterson Show. You can look at YouTube. Just Google the JP Peterson Show. You can watch us on YouTube.
I got
and
that.
We have an app, FanStream Sports. Just download the app and you can listen to the show live or taped any part of the day. And we're on Apple and Spotify, so you can just go to podcasts, subscribe to our podcast, and we'll notify you when it's ready.
JP
There you
Peterson, JP Peterson, you're showing the animal, brought to you by the fine people at Corporate Direct. They even have a sponsor here in Des Moines. You know, hey,
very nice, brother.
So hopefully hopefully we can get that going here. Something came out late this afternoon. I don't know if you've heard the story, but our good friend Ira Kaufman of JoeBucksFan.com has reporting that through sources, that Baker Mayfield is going to be the starting quarterback. Now, I love Ira Kaufman. Don't get me wrong, but to hear the story come out the day before the first game of the preseason, I just think it's kind of odd that would even happen.
Well, Ira's a great reporter. I mean,
no doubt.
Reporting that, he's talked to some people within the organization, and so then I would put my entire faith in that because Ira knows what he's talking about.
No doubt.
But that doesn't mean Baker Mayfield won't get injured. He's been injured many times. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He plays, with some reckless abandon. So, like I said, it's a journey. I think we're going to see both quarterbacks play, and I think it's going to be probably a season-long competition. But listen, if Baker gets the job and he plays well early and he seizes it, like Geno Smith did last year with Dave Canales, then that's good for the Buccaneers. That means that they're playing well and they're winning football games.
I love Dave Canales. I love his energy. I love what he brings to this team. Yeah. And for the first time, I say to myself, besides Tom Brady, there's a lot of hope in the future for this offense.
Yeah. Dave Canales is a very charismatic guy. Now, he hasn't called a single play in the NFL yet in a game, so we don't know how this is going to turn out. And listen, I expect this offense to struggle early. You've got
definitely, yes.
You have a neophyte right side of the line that I'm not convinced are the two best players for the job, to be honest with you, Cody Mock and Luke Gedeke. They're going to have to prove that to me. If I were the Buccaneers, I would go with more veteran players, but they also are looking towards the future. These are 2 second-round picks. They're high picks. They want to develop them, but I think they're going to struggle early on the right side. Dave Canales calling plays, he's learning on the job. So that's going to be a bit of a growing pains thing. So, they've got questions on the offensive line. They've got, 2 great receivers. I think Evans is going to have a huge season. And Godwin, I think both of those guys I would pick up in fantasy. I think Rachaad White's going to have a good year. But I think it's going to be a little slow to get going. I think, game 3, game 4, game 5, they're going to hit their stride, and I think they'll be better in the second half of the season, second 2/3 of the season.
2 years ago in Carolina, we had a running back by the name of Ronald Jones that ran for the longest play in Buccaneer history, longest offensive play period in Buccaneer history. And a lot of people wondered why, Bruce Arians and company was so down on this guy. Now we find out that he had a suspended 2 games for drugs. I mean, is this a problem what do you know about all this? Because it seems to me that if this guy had a personal problem, the Bucs should have addressed it.
Well, listen, you can only do what you can do as an organization. It's ultimately the player is responsible for his own behavior.
No, I agree with that.
And I can tell you that, the Bucs tried to get him, to be more interested in reading his playbook, to be more committed to the game. Animal, they're guys that come into this league and they want to be famous and they want to play in the NFL. And then there are guys that come into this league that want to be great at their craft and get better every day, like Rondé Barber. And there's usually one or the other. And Ronald Jones is the former. He's the guy that want to be a star, an NFL football player, but wasn't willing to put in the work. He had all the tools in the world, great size, great speed, but you just never know until a guy gets here, what his work ethic is going to be like, what his commitment is like, how he reacts to, having money in the NFL, what are his behaviors once he gets money and a lot of it. So it's hard to predict at times. And I think, that's what happened with Ronald Jones. He just was not committed professional. And I think it's no surprise to me what's happened to him.
I love how you do folks, this would make J.P. Peterson so good because he knows how to do the segue. Find your barber, Hall of Fame. You were there. Take us behind the scenes of it all.
Man.
It had to be It had to be an awesome.
Well, I went to the induction ceremony with my son. We sat in the crowd, and so it was very much fanboy me. I never wear jerseys. I'm not a jersey guy. And I wore Rondé's jersey.
Even a Florida State guy. You won't wear
I wear Florida State gear, but I don't wear jerseys. I don't wear another guy's jersey. I'm just not a jersey guy.
Okay.
So, which is, and if you are, fine. That's all good.
Right? No. I get that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So, but I fanboyed that day, and I wore Rondé's jersey, and really. I did a TV show with him for 5 years at Channel 8. So we became very close. So it was very emotional for me because I watched this transformation from a guy who struggled to get onto the field to a guy that literally got better every single day, took his craft so seriously, was the toughest mofo I've ever seen play the game of football, was the smartest guy I've ever seen watch film, and I watched film with them a lot. Was just the most giving person to his teammates. And when he was on the field, he was a son of a bitch, man. I'm telling you, that guy flipped the freaking switch, and he was a son of a bitch. He was a badass to play against, and to watch that whole thing come to fruition, and to get to Canton and to finally get his due. He never thought that he got the credit that he deserved, and he would bitch to me all the time about it. And he was right. He never got the national recognition he deserved. He should have gone to 4 or 5 more Pro Bowls. But as he said in Philadelphia on that fateful day after he returned it 92 yards for the biggest play in Buccaneer history, he said, F the Pro Bowl. I'm going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And what? And those critics drove him all the way to Canton. So as he thanked them all for doubting him, and he was uncommon. That was the theme of the speech. He was uncommon. Now, I'll take you behind the scenes at the party. CeeLo Green was performing.
Yes.
Russ performed, another one of his favorite artists. They had this big tent in this gorgeous venue called the Still House that had its own stills. It made its own proprietary spiced rum, which I was partaking in quite a bit. CeeLo Green performed with his big fat horn section, and he just crushed it. And then he was hanging out at the party with everybody. My son was there. We got to hang out with John Lynch and Mike Allstott and Brad Johnson and Jason Light and Brian Glazer and Jay Glazer and got Tiki Barb. It was so much fun. And we drank and we ate. The food was amazing. It was a blast. It really, until about 2:00 in the morning. We just had one hell of a time. So we partied like he played. All in, baby. All in.
I so wish I could have been there, but it was just.
You were missed, Animal. You were missed.
I don't know. I don't know if I was missed. I don't think anybody asked about me, but nevertheless, Which, by the way. Once we get done here, I need to talk about something off the air. We can.
Sure.
Now, I know you only got a few minutes left, so I wanted to get you a couple of other things.
My sweetie's calling me for dinner, so.
Okay. So let me go and do a couple of things real quick.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears for a minute here. Talk about the Rays.
Yeah.
And what I'm more interested in, what's going on off the field. Right now, they're up 3-2. Cardinals are up 3-2 now in the bottom of the third inning.
My TV's behind.
Okay, we'll see. I don't know why, but anyhow, okay. Off the field, stadium things. I mean, one in Tampa, one in St. Pete. What are you hearing? What's the latest on all that?
Well, it's been radio silent for a little bit, but I could tell you some of the things going on behind the scenes. There is an active, and I mean active, uh, uh, purchase that is going on. I should put this another way. They are actively negotiating a purchase of the team. I think
Really?
Stu Sternberg is entertaining the selling of the team. I don't know if that's being forced by Major League Baseball. That would be my guess. It's about freaking time for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
And the people that are interested in buying it are not dumb enough to build a stadium in St. Petersburg. So I think that's why this sale is being probably expedited, because St. Petersburg is making a bid to get this done. And I think Major League Baseball is now, told St. Petersburg what everybody's known for a long time. They are not going to allow the Braves to build a stadium in St. Petersburg because it's a failed location. It's a failed location. It doesn't matter how much money.
No doubt about it.
And a failed location means to Major League Baseball that they can't maximize their revenues. And that means other owners are going to have to keep giving the Rays revenue sharing checks, which they don't want to, and they don't need to. They don't need to. If they built a stadium in Tampa, the revenues would be plenty for them to be self-sustainable, and the other owners don't have to pay them money. That's what they're interested in. And the Major League Baseball has finally figured out that Stu's been hoodwinking them for a decade now on this stadium deal. And they want the stadium done in Tampa, and they're going to get it done in Tampa. This new ownership group will build in Tampa. It's not going to be done in St. Petersburg. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I believe is going to happen. I'm not reporting it as fact. The deal is not done yet. But from all the people, and I've been covering this for well over a decade.
Yes, you have.
This is where the money goes. This is where the money leads. Long term, there's much more revenue available in Tampa. That's what Major League Baseball is interested in. And I always follow the money. And that usually leads me to the correct decision. So we'll see how it plays out. But that's how I think it's going to play out.
Leave it to J.P. Peterson to break the big story here on the Animal
Football
Insider.
Well, I've said it a few times on my show too, partner. So,
well, but hey, you very rarely heard on my show.
Yes.
I could talk to you for 45 minutes. I know you got to go, and hopefully we can do this.
Yeah, have me on another time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. I want to touch on something else, and I want you to pick up the story. There was a Florida State offensive lineman. He had decided to transfer to Florida State. You know who I'm talking about?
Talking about Daryl Jackson, right?
Yeah, the appeal got denied by the NCAA. Yeah. Now you know me. I'm a diehard in the Florida Gator. I will bleed orange and blue. But for the fans to come out and knock Mike Norvell and say this is his fault, that's just crazy.
Well, what other fan is saying that is stupid and has no idea what's going on?
Oh, you should have seen Twitter. Everybody was just hating on Mike Norvell, and it's
listen, Twitter's full of a lot of ignorant people. A lot of ignorant people on Twitter. So don't judge by that, right? Yeah, listen. By the way, the guy's a monster. He's been having a great camp.
Oh my gosh!
And he's big down. FSU will be. I'm not gonna say they'll be fine without him. They could be way better.
Yeah.
But they're deep at defensive tackle. They'll be fine. But what they're doing to this kid is criminal. NCAA, first of all, just needs to go away. They have no reason to even exist anymore. NIL has made them completely irrelevant. Their leadership has been a joke for a long time. The lack of leadership of the NCAA, and the greed of these people trying to keep this stupid amateur athlete designation alive so they can get all the money and not give any to the players. It's disgusting and has been for a long time. And they finally, the courts took care of that, as we knew they would. So the NCAA needs to just go away. Daryl Jackson transferred to Miami, played there, and then he's from Quincy, Florida, which is about 20 minutes from Tallahassee. He has a very, very sick relative. It needs to be closer to home. Right. And the NCAA has 1,000 times granted these waivers because they know if they get sued, they're going to lose in court. Yep. And for some reason, this one got denied. And I wonder what that reason is, because it was the former Florida State athletic director who was dismissed because he ruined our program and was a complete moron. Stan Wilcox didn't know what the F he was doing. It's his department that decides these waivers. And for some reason, this kid's not getting a waiver. You fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks as you will.
Yeah,
but I think it's disgusting. The NCAA has no purview here, in my opinion. They grant these waivers all the time, as they should.
Yeah.
And this is
and what
gets
me and listen.
I think it'll be overturned.
Listen, and what gets me is that they've had a new NCAA president since March, and you would think that maybe he would come out and place some clarity on the NIL. He has not said anything yet, and it just
they're irrelevant.
Makes me wonder.
They're irrelevant. They're irrelevant. They need to just go away, and they know any person with a brain knows that. So,
well, listen, I know you got to run for dinner, okay? But hang on after we get done here because I'm going to talk to you about something.
Well, just hit me up on Twitter. I got to run because they're waiting on me. Hit me up on Twitter. We'll talk later.
All right, brother. JP, thank you very much.
You got it, man.